Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, I want to share with you a camera, a twin lens reflex camera that's literally unlike any other. The 1949 GemFlex. The GemFlex was developed in 1949 by a company called Showa Optical Works in Japan. It belongs to a class of cameras called HIT cameras because it uses a special 17.5mm wide paper-backed film and shoots a 14 by 14mm image. Now, HIT cameras are more commonly found in this form factor, but 1949 was the peak year in terms of popularity for HIT cameras, which is probably why Showa decided to go all out and make a twin lens reflex camera. Now, HIT cameras themselves started gaining popularity after the war in Japan, mainly because of price. The film was really affordable, and most people in Japan were impoverished due to the war, and HIT cameras were a way for them to enjoy photography at an affordable price point. Alright, so let me go over the features and explain what it's like to use the GemFlex. Using the GemFlex is actually not unlike using any other twin lens reflex camera. On the front, you have a 25mm f3.5 taking lens. It's 3 elements uncoated, and it's fixed focus, meaning we can't change the focus point that this lens is preset at from the factory. We have a choice of 3 shutter speeds from 1/125th to 1/100th, including bulb. To cock the shutter, we pull down this lever, and to fire, we pull down this lever. Now, on this side, we have an aperture selector. So unlike a traditional TLR, where there would be a focus knob here, on this camera we choose our apertures. And there's 4 apertures to choose from f3.5 to f11. Now, the interesting is that the designers of this camera actually allowed some control over focus using the aperture selector. And I say that because the preset focus distance on this lens isn't infinity. To achieve infinity focus, we'd have to choose f11. If we were to shoot at f3.5, the focus distance is actually 9.5 feet, and your depth of field will cover from 9.5 to roughly 18 feet. So the interesting is that you have some control over focus despite not having an actual focus knob. It's just a really interesting solution to a tiny camera. Here you have your your film advance. The film was paper backed, so you have a red window, and you'd have 10 exposures per roll. On this side, you have your spool releases, because it came spooled on a little metal spool. Here is your viewfinder pop-up release button, and your viewfinder itself is actual ground glass. So it's not a cheap brilliant finder, it's real ground glass, and it's very similar to a Reflex with the exception of its very tiny size. You also don't have a pop-up magnifier because you really can't control focus in the fine, in the same sense you could on a Reflex. But you do have a sport finder where this hinges down and you can look through there for eye level shooting. Now, I shot a little video just giving you an idea of what it's like using this tiny viewfinder. So I'll play that at the end of this little overview. And the last thing I want to show you is the film chamber. On the back we have a 1/4-20 mount. If you would ever want to use this on a tripod, I don't see why you would, but the option is there. So here is the film chamber. Here is your winding knob. Here is a very tiny spool. Let's see if we can take this out. Alright, so that is your film spool. So like I said, it's 17.5 millimeters wide. very tiny and your photos are 14 by 14 millimeters. Now the last thing I'll show you is the aperture on this camera. Instead of just using a 2-blade aperture or a 3-blade aperture, there's an actual 5-blade aperture in this tiny lens. And I'll show you that by choosing bulb mode. Let's cock the shutter, or let's choose f5.6. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that they went all out on the aperture. Also worth mentioning, which I completely forgot, the body is actually die-cast duralumin, which is a shatterproof alloy, and it's very heavy. It's very thick. It feels no different than a Reflex, only that it's smaller. So it's a super solid camera, very heavy for its size, and just it feels like a quality camera, which is really cool. Alright, so I'll show you that video of using this camera by the lake, just to give you an idea of what it's like to shoot with. I hope you enjoyed that brief overview on the GemFlex. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. And if you liked the video, please leave a like, please subscribe, as there's gonna be a lot more unique cameras coming up in future videos, as well as some darkroom printing and film photography things in general. All right, well, that concludes this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.